Hey, it's Molly. So I'm going to share an interview I just had with Jaime, who is a dog trainer that I've seen comments on Facebook and different posts floating through different Facebook groups over the years about the results that she's had since she implemented mainly just one thing that she learned from one of my past workshops. So I wanted to kind of clarify a couple of things about what she says in her interview, which is, first of all, she's doubled her income a couple of times since the results that she initially had. So her initial results were from one major thing. And then as she grew, she got better and better at a lot of other things. So for example, she mentions that she has a great website and things like that. But that's something that she was able to invest in as her business grew. So I wanted to clarify that because you might watch her video and think you need to do all the things that she does great in order to have the success that she has. And keep in mind that it's something that she gained gradually as she grew and as she learned and as she implemented. But her first result of going from around about $1,000 a month to going to $6, $7, $8,000 a month was almost instantaneous and almost just from one thing. So she's going to say in the video what that one thing was and clarify a few things. But I wanted to make sure I mentioned that because she is amazing at a ton of things when it comes to running her business and keeping track of things and a whole bunch of other stuff that she's just great at. But it wasn't something that she just entered her dog training business automatically being great at those things. She grew into those skills. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned that and also share with you a couple of the comments that she made in a conversation between us where I checked in with her again to see if she was still consistently around 10,000 a month because that was the last screenshot that I had seen on Facebook. And she said that she is now at around $12,000 to $16,000 a month. And she says she's always telling the people that she mentors in dog training to implement what they learn. And she always recommends that they go through my courses. And then she clarified in the video that she's actually at between $16,000 and $20,000 a month, depending on the month. So she went from barely hobby income to $6,000 to $7,000 a month, and then a while later, $10,000 a month, and now $16,000 to $20,000 a month. The kicker, though, is that she still has tons of time off. I love it that she says that she makes more money than her husband and has more time off than him. So you'll hear her say that in the video, but I want to clarify those things for you before you dive in. But she also talks about how she structures her programs, and that's why it's good to watch these videos too, because you'll learn a ton about how these trainers actually do what they do, how they put together what they offer, how they figure out their prices. And a lot of them mention a few specific things, that they target their ideal clients, they know who their ideal clients are, that they charge what they're worth, that they're not burning out, that they take plenty of time off, that they're happier, that they enjoy their businesses more, and that a lot of times they started off charging by the hour or having packages instead of programs, which is one of the main things that I help trainers with, is shifting what they offer into programs. So you'll hear a lot of people share these stories that start off with those things or include those things, but being happier and enjoying their businesses so much more, that's really so much, it just as important as the income, if not more. So I think you'll love her story. So here it is. All right. So thank you again, Jaime, for being here to tell your story. So I just wanted to preface everything with the fact that I've seen your story change over time with your Facebook comments. So I have like screenshots of your comments from where you were, I guess you had just done one of the workshops and you said something at first, like years ago, that you started off making like $1,000 a month or something like hobby income. And then you said something about being consistently $6,000 or $7,000 a month. And then later there was another Facebook comment like months or years later that said you were consistently $10,000 a month. And so I checked in with you just to see how you're doing, and things have changed again since then. So if you don't mind, tell me the update of what's going on and how your life is, what your schedule's like, what your business is like, anything else that you'd like to share.
Sure. So I do want to say, that in the beginning, I think it's more of that fear period. You have this like fear period of that whole, do I charge what I feel like I'm worth? So it's just the natural progression of slowly dipping my feet in and then trusting that I can make more money. And so in the beginning, I think I was working a little bit more than what I had actually wanted to. And I just gained the faith through the workshops of charging what I think that I am worth or what I would like to make. And I'm at that point. And so now I'm at 16, and then I'm just a solo. My son does work with me in addition as he goes to college, but it's just me, myself, and I. But I'm making $16,000 to $20,000 a month, and that's just give or take, depending. So, like during the holidays, of course, and spring break, which is always the biggest, is when my income will dip way up. But I would say I wouldn't want to work at that level. But for the most part, I feel like the income allows me to obviously enjoy certain luxuries that I wanted to enjoy, but I also am not working my pants off because I am charging what I'm worth. And I did listen to all aspects of the program, of your program, and implemented them. I think that's the key. I think so many times we purchase these workshops, or we attend these workshops, and we don't actually implement what we learn. But I just trusted it, implemented it, and I have to say that it works. So I don't feel like I work less than, I make more money than my husband and work way less than him. I'm able to stay home. I was able to work all the way through the pandemic. So I feel like with having 3 kids, and mine are all in college basically now, but I did homeschool all 3 of them, and that allowed me to make a substantial income along with staying home and providing them the education I wanted to provide them. So
that's awesome.
That's basically it.
Yeah. And you're so right about the implementing, because that's why everybody, when they comment or they say in a video or anything like that, they wouldn't have been able to do it without the workshop, and it's all because of the workshop. I always go, no, because you got the workshop and you took action, but then you actually applied what you learned. So, the credit really goes
exactly.
to you. That's awesome.
Thank you.
So happy for you. So, you have 3 kids like I do, but yours are older. And when you're in that same way, homeschooling. So I know what that's like, meaning to have like a lot of time off and freedom to do things like that. So that's huge. Yeah. So you also mentioned to me that you are booked out for quite a while. So tell me about that.
I'm actually booked out now till April would be the next spot that I have.
Wow. Yeah.
Right. So I think when I spoke with you a little while back, it was March, but I just filled my last March spot. And so now we're at April. And I actually had a consultation for the April spot. So I will be slowly filling that. So I'm actually booked quite a bit out. I'm also filling any additional spots that I would like to with boarders. So I do boarding and then the board and train. Yeah, I mean, it's there. People are willing to wait when they think that the product is worth it.
Yeah.
I think that there was a little bit of a fear in the beginning when I was booking out. Originally what I would do is I would stop and I wouldn't take anybody else in because, I would go, oh, it's too far out. But the reality of it is they want it and they're willing to put their deposits down, and then it just keeps going. So
yeah. Yeah. So for the purposes of anybody watching this video, it's December right now. So that's like basically 5 months. Or four months, 4 or 5 months. So yeah, having a long wait like that, I think you're right that a lot of people are afraid of doing that because they don't think people will wait, or they feel bad or anything like that for making people wait. So then they undervalue themselves or run themselves ragged trying to train more people, more dogs in a shorter period of time because of that guilt or not knowing how to do what kind of skills do you feel like people need in order to be able to do that successfully besides training dogs really well? Like, the way you do your programs and all that stuff.
Definitely you have to have the training skills. You have to be able to actually provide what you're claiming you can do. But I would say charging what you would work less, you know what I mean? So it's like, I want to, it sounds fabulous to hear, oh, she's booked 4 to 5 months out, farther, whatever. And it sounds like, oh, she must have just nonstop constant dogs in the house. And that's not the reality. I charge, a minimum of $4,000 on up per dog, depending on the case. And so I'm able to take in less dogs. I mean, if you take in just 4 dogs at $4,000, you have a nice income right there. And I do not believe that it is about the area that you're in, because I have, based on the workshops that I've done with you in the past, I deep dived in, and you have to be willing, I think, to spend the money in order to make the money. And so good SEO, a fabulous website. It does come back to you tenfold if you're willing to put that in. It's scary, I know. But I will say the number one comment from a lot of my clients, or most of my clients, is I love your website, which is funny because I can have a fabulous website and still not be a great dog trainer if you think about it. But what they fell in love with was the website.
Mm-hmm.
And so from there, of course, you have to be able to sell it, and then you have to be able to provide. I think my reviews show for that. But having that great SEO, et cetera, and then it's far reaching. So I have clients in Ireland, in Scotland. I have clients all across the United States. And I was able to work through the pandemic with Zoom because I'm able to advertise far out. But that's because I invested in that. But like I said, it comes back to you tenfold. So it's just trusting that process and trusting that you can, what you invest in, you're going to get back. So,
right.
And I mean, we see that even with our education. If you are a dedicated dog trainer, we attend workshops, we purchase those books, we buy do you know what I mean? So it comes back to us. That's why we do it. So
yeah. So investing in your knowledge as a dog trainer, and then also investing in your knowledge as a business owner, and knowing how to show the value of what you do and advertise correctly, all that stuff.
Right. I think that's where a lot of dog trainers fail. So I do mentor new dog trainers, and your program is the one thing that's on the list because I give them suggested and recommended workshops through trainers that I enjoy. Or, the biggest thing I push with them is marketing. Everyone wants to chin their website. Everyone wants to chin on SEO. Everyone wants to chin. And I feel like that's where it's at. So, you have to know how to put that all together and not being a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm sorry, but I would suck at creating my own website. I would be horrible at most of the background work with that. So I do pay somebody to maintain and run all of that background stuff. I do pay for marketing, like for social media marketing. I pay somebody to create those posts. I think that's so important. And those, like, one of the takeaways that I did take from the workshop was, I do believe at one point there was a talk about that, like, don't be a jack of all trades. You're a dog trainer, hire somebody who specializes in, website design, et cetera, et cetera. So that was huge. And it's hard because you go, oh gosh, who has that much money to put toward that website? But it's so worth it to invest in that. So, and then learning to market that, most of us dog trainers, I think we focus so heavily on the dog, and, you had constantly talked about that you are selling to the human. Yeah. And so you have to give them what they think that they want. Do you know what I mean? I mean, you're not, it's honest. You're not being deceptive, but you are marketing to the human. So, we focus too heavily, I think, on the dog, and that's represented in a lot of my newbie dog trainers websites. When I go over them, I'm like, oh, this is like, if the dog had a huge frontal lobe and can get online and look at your website, they'd love it. But the person that's actually doing most of the work is going to be like, this isn't going to solve my problem. So
yes, that's absolutely true. Absolutely. So looking back at your business kind of early on, when you were in that stage where you had just gone from barely making like hobby income, is what a lot of trainers call it, just $1,000 or so a month. And then growing to the 6 or 7 at that point in your business. One of the earlier screenshots that I saw, what was the thing that you changed to make that jump? Like, what was the big, cause that's a big jump. And then you basically doubled your income a couple times since then. So what was that? What did you do then?
First and foremost, what I implemented was, changing the lingo on my website, like I mentioned. So like the simple tagline of, having the well-mannered dog you deserve, pulling at that, making sure that they felt like I was going to be solving their problem, that type of lingo within the website. We each and every one of us have to come up with our own in regards to that, what feels right. But programs. That was the game changer. Programs. I stopped, and I see this within some of the Facebook dog groups, the argument between, do you charge for individual sessions versus programs? But programs was where it was at. Yeah. I was booking out pretty quickly once I implemented programs. Yeah. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that, because there is always a debate about that. I think because the trainers who want to charge by the hour are doing that, or even just packages of lessons, which aren't the same thing as programs, packages of lessons for sale to sell their time, because it feels low pressure to just say, just start. And if you like it, keep going. And if you don't like it, you can stop. But then what happens is the owner doesn't get the results. The trainer feels like terrible about themselves and doesn't make enough money. So it's just, the whole thing is broken.
And we have to remember the dog is our marketing as well.
Yeah.
So if you can't get them to commit to a minimum number that you start to see results, you have a half trained dog out there with a, I don't want an owner, this dog is jumping at the end of the leash and they're like, we used Jamie. I would never want that. I want enough session time in there so that the dog represents my skill set.
Yes,
So,
absolutely. Yeah,
right.
totally agree with you on that. So I'm glad that made a difference. So you went from, what were you doing originally? Were you charging by the hour originally?
I was. And I think also when I originally started, I would do packages. And the game changer was that mindset of packages versus programs. And they have to commit to the program. And then in addition, learning the little tidbits within the workshops of, do you refund? Do you not refund unused portions, et cetera, those types of things. Just for reference, I do not. You sign a contract, you're going to commit. And of course there's circumstances, but the little things, I think, they're committed and they have to do it. I think one of the big things that I learned in one of your workshops, and I don't remember when, because it's been so long, I feel like there's been so much content that's added, is booking them, like when you get them to commit, booking those sessions, even if they're just tentative, but having it on the calendar was also a game changer. It's sitting there at that consult and then having them commit on the calendar, your session 1, session 2, session 3, however many, you know what I mean? But then in addition to those programs, that perceived value items, the unlimited emails, unlimited whatever, the perceived value stuff was very, very important. I think those sold it as well. So the programs are where it's at. So.
Definitely. That's awesome. So when you said that you have plenty of time off, especially like that you make more than your husband and have more time off than your husband to spend with the kids and, do other things. What is your schedule like? And, so when you say you have plenty of time off, how does that contrast with what because dog trainers have a bad habit of burning themselves out. So tell me what you think that contrast is like.
Right. For me, the average dog that comes in is typically about 21 days. And that is because we start working beforehand at the consultation. And the system that I use is we do a consultation. I have them implementing a bunch of stuff that I know will make changes in the dog and in their relationship. And that's where most of it is at. And occasionally we'll do a session prior to, just to get really things going. Then the dog comes in and I like to start all of them the first week of the month. And then that allows the last week of every month where I can choose to completely be free and take it off and do whatever I want before the next round comes in. Or if I want to, I can say this dog really does need a little bit more time and it doesn't overlap. So I don't end up with this plethora of dogs because, the dog needed a little bit of extended time, et cetera.
Yeah.
One of the things that I would have to stress would be, just really making sure you're firm on those start dates, because people will say, but I'm going on vacation, and you feel like you're losing that client, but there will be somebody else. There's always somebody else who will fill that spot. And I just
that client will work
boundaries.
It out. Yeah,
they will. They always work it out. And that's what's so scary. I think it's just trusting and being confident. And oddly, I started to discover that the more I said I was booked, the more they wanted it, the more they had to have it. So just trust that and be confident in that if they want it, if you can produce the product, they will wait, they will do what needs to be done. And money, most of us are walking around with $1,000 item in our hand and we're willing to pay for that. Do you know what I mean? So it's there if they want it. How badly do they want it? And that also shows that we have commitment then too, how
absolutely.
badly do we want it? We're committed. So
the clients that are willing to invest in bigger programs often are the more committed people because they have more invested. And you're absolutely right on that. They will work it out. There's like valid psychological reasons for all of that. So I'm glad you're experiencing that. So what are a lot of times when people have gone through workshops and implemented these things and had big impacts on their income, they've had other kind of ripple effects on their lives. Like I talked to someone the other day who he said that his marriage is a lot better because there's no worries about money anymore. And other people talk about the freedom to travel and be able to spend time with their families or their own dogs, and how much happier they are in general, that it's not just about making more income, but about actually enjoying your business and enjoying your life. So what kind of ripple effects have you seen from the changes in your business?
I would say as far as the ripple effects go, I'm definitely happier. I feel like I was a lot more stressed taking on clients that I weren't necessarily my ideal client. I can definitely be pickier and choosier with that, which allows me to enjoy my job more. I am very picky now about the clients that I take on. I want to mesh with their personality. I want to have fun. Where before I feel like I loved dog training and I loved the world of dog training, but because you settle, there was a lot of I'm so frustrated, I'm so frustrated, I'm so frustrated. The frustration level is definitely down. It allows me also to you had asked about the schedule. It allows my schedule is a lot looser during the day because I make sure that I treat it as a business. I want to make sure that I corner that. And so I'm less stressed. I'm homeschooling the kids because I'm happier with the dogs that I have in instead of just settling for it because of the money. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would say the ripple effects then would carry over into parenting. My kids have a happier mom. I am very, very like antisocial. So it's not like I'm out running around traveling and doing whatnot. I'm very happy to be home, but my home time is not eaten up by the dogs, even though they're in my home. It is scheduled, regimented, and I just feel like I'm a lot less stressed. And I can just pick up and say, even though I have a schedule, if a friend does say, you want to go to lunch today? Sure. And it just affords so much freedom where before I couldn't because I took on too many dogs because I wasn't charging what I was worth. And so, work smarter, not harder thing. So
yes, definitely. That makes so much sense. I'm so happy for you. I'm glad you're happier.
Thanks. Yeah, me too.
Makes everybody in your life happier. So
right.
yeah, that's great. That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. I think that covers all my questions, unless you have anything else you wanted to share.
No, and that would be it.
That's awesome.
So I'm really happy that. Good.
That's very good. I'm proud of, I always am hesitant to say I'm proud of you because I feel like a mom when I say that, but I'm proud of you for implementing what you learned and getting such great results out of it. So I'm really happy for you for all of that. And thank you again for taking the time to share and stay in touch. Let me know what happens in the future if you double your income again.
Thanks for having me. Right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'll talk to you again soon.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.